Alright, folks, wow, great start to this one. Welcome back to Romance of the Three Kingdoms Xi. This is the mysterious JG, your friend in the digital age, and I am inviting you guys to join me for this LPing adventure in a way that is completely unoriginal, totally stolen from somebody to whom I already owe great thanks because he, kind of drew some attention to my LP, but I'm going to continue to rip him off shamelessly anyway. So, what this is, folks, is a call for warriors to help me to preserve the Han. Or, well, not really, but I'll explain that in a moment. So, just imagine that you're wandering around in a pub in oldie-timey Japan, and you find posted right between, an ad for beer and a poster advertising somebody's college band, a proclamation that reads as follows. Cognizant of their grave responsibility, Cao and his confederates proclaim to the realm their loyalist cause. Dong Zhuo, violator of heaven and earth, has destroyed the dynasty and murdered the emperor, dishonored the palace's forbidden quarters, and grievously injured the common folk. The crimes of this ruthless, avaricious man mount high. Now we have in hand a secret decree from the emperor, on which authority we are summoning soldiers to our cause. We vow to extirpate, really? Sounds out? These evils and preserve the sacred heartland of our civilization. We aim to field a righteous host to satisfy the indignation of the people, support the royal house, and save the suffering millions. Let this proclamation be acted upon immediately when received. And all sorts of cool dudes showed up in response to this thing, and it was pretty sweet and awesome and stuff. And together, a bunch of guys got together to overthrow Dong Zhuo. Huge army was fielded to defeat the Tyrant Dong. And, And they all came together, they fought Dong Zhuo's forces, they forced Dong Zhuo to retreat, and then their supplies ran out, and they returned home. And eventually Dong Zhuo got murdered by one of his own retainers because of some chick who, kind of played them both like fiddles. And therefore, the huge army that came together to defeat Dong Zhuo, in response to the royal proclamation, which was actually a forgery to begin with, totally failed to defeat Dong Zhuo. But that doesn't mean, folks, that you shouldn't answer my proclamation, that together we support the Han, that we honor the ancestral shrines, and that we do all sorts of other stuff that would have made Confucius the sage totally dig on us. And the way that you can do that, folks, is to reply to this video and give me your stats, names, suggestions, what the hell ever, for an edited, or rather created officer. Like the LPer, whom I shall not name because I don't want to sound like I'm dropping names here, but like the guy whom, for many of you, is the reason you're aware that my LP even exists, I'm going to go ahead and ask for submissions for created officers. My slant on this is going to be a little different. I've already decided after, reading some comments. I had some people who wanted me to use an all-created force. I had some people who wanted to see more of a historical play. Your game never stays too close to history for too long in this game, unless you go out of your way to follow the footsteps of history. Eventually, you're going to start doing things differently from the way they happen in the novel. But I'm going to start off at sort of the low ebb for Liu Bei's forces and build the kingdom of Shu. And then I'm really going to try to depart from history by attempting to actually make Shu win, because Shu is actually the first of the three kingdoms to fall. Sorry, Shu fans. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you guys to submit your officer ideas, and I can't promise I'll include every single one, because I'm going to limit it to one submission per person, so go ahead and make it an avatar of yourself if you like, although you don't have to do it that way. And I'm going to drop you guys into the game, but in order to not feel like I'm cheating, giving myself a bunch of good officers, because I imagine most of you guys are going to, try to create kind of a Pollyanna officer who's awesome at least one or two things. I don't want to feel like I'm a big stinky cheater, so I'm going to drop you guys into the universe and random cities, and let me go out there, and maybe, if I'm lucky, I'll find you very talented and obviously possession of good taste LP viewers, because you're watching my LP, of course. So yeah, I'm going to drop you in there at random and let the world decide what to do with you. Maybe you will end up serving Lord Cao Cao. Maybe you'll end up serving Yuan Shao, because I'm picking... you're not going to end up serving Old Dongy, because he's going to be gone and already dead in the scenario that I'm going to do. But in order for us to do this, I need to walk you through the process of creating an officer is like in this game. I haven't done it in a while either, so let me practice by making one for myself. I am going to, let's see, I gotta pick a portrait. This maybe is the last thing that I should figure out, so let me just stick with the generic portrait for right now. But I'm gonna give myself a name. Surname for me is gonna be G, because I'm Mysterious JG. Although in this one I actually could go with Mysterious. You've got more room to work with than in some of the other ones. But let's go with surname G. Confirm. Forename J. I will appear throughout the game as GJ rather than JG. But hey, that's how they roll in China, folks. That's how they do. So we're gonna stick with that. You can set your birth year. Ooh, this is important for us to get right. So let me back out. I'm not gonna create that guy. Let me back out and go to what I should have done in the first place, which is a character. No, I'm trying to back out. Why aren't you letting me back out? Save. The game has not been saved. Continue. Ugh. Yes. Okay, that's sorry. Alright, let me go to an officer I've already created. I've got a couple officers here. You don't need to worry about Hemo Ray and Annie Anderson. The Doctor, Jamie McCrimmon, and Zoe Harriet. You don't need to worry about them either. I was on a Doctor Who kick when I last played this game. Let's go with Jing Chi. Jing Chi is the only the only created character I'm going to use in this game that I've created for myself. And I created her because I like Shu and I like Dynasty Warriors, and she was pretty much the character from Shu who didn't get to be in the game. Although maybe sort of she kind of did, because Jing Chi is in the novel. There actually is no character named Jing Chi. There is mention of the fact that Zhang Fei has a daughter who marries Liu Shan after the death of Liu Bei. And that's kind of where the Jing Chi character in Dynasty Warriors came from. If you actually play that game and watch her story mode, she's got kind of a crush on Guan Ping, but the game does kind of leave us with the impression that she and Liu Shan are going to eventually end up together. But that character is in this game too, I realized eventually. They do have a girl who's supposed to be Zhang Fei's daughter. But I also read somewhere that Zhang Fei actually had two daughters, that they both ended up married to Liu Shan, because that's how they did things back in the day. Although I think one of them died and he married her younger sister. So I'm just going to go ahead and pretend that this is whichever one is not already in the game is Jing Chi, and I gave her much more impressive stats than the in-game character, because the in-game character was just some, like, anonymous female noblewoman, and Jing Chi was like a Dynasty Warrior. She's supposed to be, like, badass. So, surname and forename, and let's look at her other stuff. You have to make a birth year. Can you read that? It says 181. I would recommend going with that year or somewhere in that vicinity, folks, as your birth year, because, if I recall correctly, I set this game up so that Jing Chi would be just old enough to serve Shu when the scenario I'm planning to play starts, because I created her for the scenario that I'm going to play now, although I created her a long time ago. I gave her a lifespan of 99 years. I think I'm going to give everybody that lifespan just so that nobody dies too early. I'm not going to bother with fathers, mothers, or spouses. You folks were torn, all of you were torn from the thigh of Zeus, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, and nobody gets spouses, because none of you are allowed to submit more than one character. And, yeah, so that's the kin page. Sworn siblings. Ooh, I don't think I'm going to bother with this either, on account of you only get to submit one character. Even though I asked in somebody else's LP if I could be sworn brothers with Boba the Vulture, but there's no guarantee that we're both going to make it, or either of us will make it into the game, so let's not bother with that. You can pick a close friend if you want, but you have to pick somebody who's an actual historical officer in the game, which means that if you're aware of one, I'll try to pick them for you, and if you pick somebody who's not in the scenario, I'm going to give up and not do anything. This Sworn Siblings has a pretty serious effect on how officers behave, but we're not using that. Close friend, I don't know that it does very much, other than kind of vaguely impact which forces you'll go. And, like, you're more likely to join a force that a close friend is on. That's how the liked and disliked officers things work too. If you really want to give me a name of a bunch of liked and disliked officers, I guess I'll what's the word I'm looking for here? I guess I can indulge you, but yeah, I'm not going to really bother with this myself. This is Jing Chi, and she was like, I probably went more all out and put in more attention and detail into her than any of my other created characters, none of which I'm going to be using anyway. So I just listed a bunch of characters who were from Shu and said, oh, these are all people that she would probably get along reasonably well with. And Huan Ping is like her sort of love interest, kind of, maybe. Huang Ying is Yue Ying in Dynasty Warriors, and that's like the only other girl in Shu, so she's gotta have somebody to talk about makeup and shopping with. Pang Tong, I always had it in the back of my mind that it would be kind of cool if, like, Pang Tong, the sort of forgotten strategist of Shu, got along well with Jing Chi, who was, you know, also kind of a forgotten character, and kind of described throughout her story as she was supposed to be level-headed and intelligent, even though it doesn't really come across. She's just kind of a squeaky little girl. And then Zhang Bao and Zhang Xiao, I believe, would be her brothers, although it's entirely possible I've totally screwed that up and that they're actually like enemies of the state or something. She would dislike Cao Pi based on one piece of throwaway dialogue from her Musou mode. It's really not worth getting into. But if you want to have liked and disliked officers, go ahead and let me know. I guess I'll throw them in there, but it's not really going to do much. It kind of affects which forces you're likely to end up in, and since in this game the characters that you submit are just going to be dropped into the universe at random, I guess if you have it in your mind that you really feel like it would be cool to work for Cao Cao, in which case you'll be my enemy, but so be it. Yeah, pick a bunch of Cao Cao dudes to be your liked officers, pick a bunch of Shu dudes to be your disliked officers, and that might influence things. I couldn't tell you for sure. Abilities, here we go. I guess just prioritize them. It's random. I should be using the random thing to figure out what your abilities are, but I believe it gives me points to distribute, in which case you're going to want to just sort of tell me, what do you want maxed out most of all? What do you want maxed out next? I am going to avoid having all of my created people have 101 stat, because I think it's supposed to be rare for somebody to be at 100. And yet that does tend to happen. Like every single person who submits is like, I want to have 100 power and 100 leader, so I'll be the greatest warrior in the world. And like, aptitude. Just pick something that you want to have an S in, and I'm probably going to give, or maybe like 2 things you want to have an S in. I give you A's and B's and everything else. That affects what tactics you're allowed to use. So if you're going to like say, I want my war stat to be low, but I want really high politics stat and charisma because I want to be like a useful domestic officer, your aptitudes don't mean anything anyway. Skill. Oh boy, this is going to be long. If I try to go through all the skills that are available in the game, it's quite a list, folks. It's quite a list. There's all sorts of things you can be good at. I'm not going to read through all of these, but I might just sort of give you a minute. You can pause the video and read these. I would suggest Masterful, 2 times TP on defeating it. Masterful would be nice if you're working for me, because it means that you would be building up TP quickly, and not be a particularly effective fighter or anything like that. Assistance isn't going to be useful for any of you, for example. Spear General, Pike General, you know what? Just go with one of those. Tell me which type of unit you want to be good at leading, and then go for that general, and you'll be really good at leading them. Escape route, officer not captured when defeated. You might want to do that if you plan to go be my enemy and you don't want me executing you. And the list keeps going. It's a long list of skills, folks. If I even have a female viewer who wants to be a part of the game, that would be awesome. Just to give us a little variety here, have some of the fair sex participating. Siren is a good choice for you ladies because although I don't think I gave that to Jing Chi, it is really good because it makes your strategies much more effective against male units, and by the vast majority of the units are going to be led by male characters, of course. I mean, it only makes sense. And Fame increases troops when recruiting. Yeah, that's a handy one. All of these are good. There's none of these that are actually bad. Some of them are more useful than others. There is no such thing as a skill that is like actually, bad. Feng Shui, no locusts or plagues in city. If you don't have any idea of what you want to do, I would suggest that Feng Shui is it's actually probably pretty useful for the city that you're in. But more importantly, it's just kind of cool if you tell me your skills to Feng Shui. I'm like, hey, my name is Wu Zhu Tong, and I have 100 in war and 100 in leadership, and I really like to arrange, wind chimes. Alright, so let's back out of here. I gave her Divine Right. I don't even remember what that is. I don't even care at the moment. Traits. You have to pick your personality. Characters. Timid, cool, bold, or reckless. This impacts As far as I know, it only impacts how you behave in debates. So pay very close attention to the debate tutorial, which I'll be airing sometime soon, if you think that you're going to be involved in a lot of debates. But honestly, folks, there's so many options in this game, none of you are really going to be doing all that much. Sorry, but it's true. Voice, cool or bold. That just affects what you sound like when you go, "Oh, great," or whatever. And if this game continues to skip out and freak out on the vocal tracks, I might have to just kill the vocal tracks anyway. Tone. Normal, polite, dignified, pompous, or reckless. I have no idea what that affects, folks. Probably means that you get along better with officers who have a similar tone to you, or maybe rulers have a similar tone to you, because the officers don't really interact with each other that much. It just impacts what forces you will join, and possibly if I defeat the army that you're in and imprison you, and if I send an officer to try to recruit you, or if I'm using you to recruit officers, the tone probably impacts who you can and cannot successfully recruit. Court. Ignore, normal, or important. They're talking about how much respect you're going to show to the Imperial Han. If you are going to serve in Wei, you're going to want to pretty much ignore the Imperial Court, even though you use it to prop up the legitimacy of your government. In fact, you don't actually respect it. I guess normal's like Wu. They're kind of like... It's hard to tell with Wu. I mean, they mouth a lot of platitudes about supporting the Han, but it's pretty obvious that Sun Jian from the beginning wanted to make himself emperor, really no better than Cao Cao. But because they were not actually in a position to be tyrants, they had a little bit... it was easier to pretend that maybe they were serious about it. And important, that's definitely Shu and Liu Bei. These guys, like, they were crazy about restoring the Han. Aspiration. Ooh, you know, another one. I don't know what this actually does. I feel like I should defer to that LPer that I will not name. He probably has a better idea than I do. He had a good idea of what this does, and I believe he's LPing Romance of the Three Kingdoms 6. I don't even know which one it is. I even submitted an application to be an officer. But yeah, military, able, royal, goodly, self-eminent, steadfast, free. If you can't be bothered to pick one, I'm going to go with whatever defaults. Growth period, maintain... Precocious, normal, and late bloomer. Maintain means that you keep your abilities. Your abilities are at their peak throughout your entire career. Normal means in your middle of your life, as when your abilities are at their best. They start low, they go up, they come back down. Precocious, well, you all know what precocious means, right, folks? I mean, you guys all own a thesaurus. It means that you're an early bloomer, and late bloomer means that you are not precocious. Ability persistence, long or short. I would just say maintain and long. I mean, if you want to be... This is one where there's clearly a right answer if you want to have the most powerful character. And, what else? That's traits. I think that's it. Finally. We've got your name, your kin, your ties to, your abilities, and your traits. So, yeah. In descending order of importance, you want to make sure that you give me good... you want to make sure you get your frickin' name right. And you probably want to spell out for me what your... I'm going to use random, but I can kind of tinker with your abilities after that, so just let me know what you want to be good at. And traits is really going to impact things in a way that's very... difficult for us to even see. So like the stuff that is random number generated, those random numbers get shaded a bit by whatever we put here, but we can't see it, which is kind of nice because it means that we can't overthink things too much and ruin the fun. And what's next after that? Well, what else do we have to worry about here? We can do model, where you pick what you want to look like. Let's this doesn't come up that much at all. I'm going to show you what the models look like in red. The only change is, I mean, there's a couple of different models, and then there's a couple of different colors. There are more models in the males generally than the females. At least there's more military ones, which makes sense because it really is a pretty masculine game. And those are what you have to choose from. 3 different military male, 2 different military female, 2 military civilian, 2 female civilians. Then you can choose to be, here's a female in a hot black outfit. Pretty sexy, huh? Unless that's supposed to be blue, which I believe it is, because this is a dude in a seriously cool black outfit. And then you can be wearing, Oh, that's also black, sorry. But there's yellow, and there's, yeah, you know, whatever. This isn't going to come up that much, folks. So don't worry about it too much. Unless you're in a duel, we're not going to see what you look like. As you can see, Jing Chi doesn't look anything like she did in Dynasty Warriors, but there's not a whole lot I can do. You can also pick historical models, except that you can't pick historical models. I'm not going to let you do that. If you pick a historical model, I am going to give you some kind of default model, because you are not a historical officer, you are a created officer. Stop trying to cheat. Sex, that should be pretty self-explanatory. So, now we're already at 20 minutes. Do I really want to keep this going? Yes, I have to keep this going because I've got to show you the faces. So let's, edit births. That's right, this is why, 181. Let's... I really feel like I should get this right. I don't want to make things really confusing for you guys. So I set her birth at 181. And, no, I don't want to do anything with you right now. Well, let's pretend that we're going to go into a campaign. And we'll pretend that we're going to go into the campaign that I'm actually going to play. And that way we can, see how old a character would be. Or, yeah, let's see. Can I dispatch Jing Chi? Oh no, that's stupid. Let's just check and see what frickin' year it is. September 2207. Sorry, that's what we're gonna play. It's September 2207. I can see it's kind of hard for somebody who lives in 2011 to declare the year 207. I can't even say it in the sentence. So, it's 207. I gave her a birth year of 181. That would make her, let's see, 19. That makes her 16. Yeah, I knew I did that for a reason. And boy, it would be funny if I got that math wrong in my head. But I'm not going to be bothered to go back and check. So yeah, that's why I would suggest that you be born in 181, because that way you will have a long, full life ahead of you when this scenario begins. Unless you really want to start out as an old person, then by all means do that. But now we are going to go create, and I hope I haven't bored you to death, but I'm going to create JG. Why am I going to create JG? Well, I mean, I should probably be in the game. I wasn't planning to actually... I honestly was not planning to be in this game at all, but if I'm going to ask other people to participate, I should also be in the position where I could potentially be killed. I should be put... I think it would be amusing if at some point my, quote-unquote avatar appears in the game and I am forced to execute him because he refuses to join my side. I think that would be pretty funny. So let me just be some dude wearing a black dress. That seems pretty awesome. I'm wearing a hot black outfit. And I'm a dude, so I'm going to stick with male. My surname is going to be J. No, my surname has to be G. What am I doing? And my forename is going to be J. And I will throughout the entire game be called GJ, and I think that's funny. I'm going to give myself a birth year of 181, as I recommended that you guys do. Oh, and yeah, right here. Tells me how old we're going to be. Clash at Liu Bei. Oh, jeez. Rival Warlords 14. Clash at Guandu 20. I think it's 20 is probably the minimum age you can join, in which case I did do that math completely wrong, and I apologize. I don't need a father, and I don't need a mother. I don't need anyone. I am an emotionally stunted teenager, apparently. Liked officers, I'm not bothering with any of this. Bobo's not in the game, but I imagine that when he does show up, I might make us sworn siblings. I might not, I don't know. Leader abilities. Let me see. Can I do, how is this actually going to work? How many points do I have to play with here? Oh. All max, all min digits? I have the option of setting this wherever the heck I want. I don't know of a way to do this randomly. This is irritating. I'd actually rather do it randomly. Let me back out of here. It's not saved, but let me create an officer. Auto. Male. This is what I'm going to do with you guys. And I'm going to go, no. I have to change his name, but... Okay, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it auto. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to give you the... You tell me what to... I don't know. How am I going to do this? Oh, I should have figured this out before I started recording. Alright, folks, here's the deal. I'm going to go with random. And I'm going to use my own judgment to determine whether your abilities are even close to what you wanted them to be. This officer is actually pretty freaking good. This created officer. I'm going to stick with this for myself. I wanted to be good at politics and leader and charisma, because I was going to be like a, you know, a minister kind of dude. Maybe I'll take like 10 out of charisma. I didn't notice exactly what it was and put 10 in here. Did I even take 10 out? I wasn't paying enough attention. Yeah, see? That's about what I'll do, except that I'll try to pay closer attention when I'm doing yours, because I'm not sure that I took 10 out of charisma. I may have cheated myself. Cheated a bit and made myself stronger than I should have been. But my aptitude, it gave me A's, B's, and a C. That's not good. I'm not much of a military guy, apparently. But I'm going to say that if I was going to do something, I'd want to use weapons. I'm going to be a siege dude. So I'll give myself an S in like one category. And that's what I'll let you do. Pick one category that you want to have an S in. But you know what? I'm taking that back. I want to transport. What does that do? Improve transportation units land movement. That's a really good skill for a politician type of dude to have. So I'm going to stick with that, but I still, since I went through showing you the skills, I will give you guys the option to set your own skill or just go with what it sets. But I think I'll go with bows instead of weapons, because weapons is like, no, you know what? I'm going to be good at weapons. I want to be good at making weapons. Alright. Traits, reckless, normal, ignore. No, that's no good. I'm not reckless. I'm cool, dude. No, I should have a cool voice. And my tone is going to be dignified, because I'm a politician, dude. I want to restore the Han. My ambition is to be goodly. My growth is maintained, and my ability persistence is long. So, yeah. Pretty much the random thing is just going to be so that I don't have to figure out your stats for everything. I'll do the rest of these manually. I'm not letting you pick your own base abilities, because I don't want to get a bunch of people who have 100 in war. My surname, however, has got to go back to being J. And my forename has got to go back to being... Wait, no, I did it backwards. My forename has to be J. Or is this right? What the heck am I doing? No, that's wrong, because it came out JG, which is what it really should be. And I want it to be GJ, so I feel ridiculous. Oh, what the hell, we're keeping it JG. Alright, I was going to go around being GJ, but I'll be JG. I think I'm going to be GJ, and if I get drafted into it, I'll be GJ in the LP of the guy who I will not name, Grimmeth. Now, I'm not bothering with any of that. I hope this hasn't been too boring, folks, but I'm just walking you through the process. There will be a video where I put you guys together, and that one might be even more dull. But here, we've got a model, and now, this is what I've been putting off until the very end. Show you the faces you have to choose from. That's me. But I don't think I'm going to stick with that face. I'm going to pick a different face. But right now, we're on screen 1 of 18. So... this is how we're going to do it. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. On screen 1, if you tell me I want screen 1 phase 3, you're going to get this guy. Let's keep going. Oh, did not mean to do that. No, this is the created officer, so let's go R2 to this screen. Ooh, you could be a ninja, folks. You could be this guy, this guy. There's all sorts of awesome faces you can be. You could be this guy, kind of vaguely looks like Meng Huo. That's screen 2. You could be any one of these dudes. I'm looking to see if there's anybody I recognize. You'd be like crazy goofy guy. Screen 4. Who could you be here? We could be Jackie Chan, who's right here. You could be this guy. Look at this guy. What's he gonna do? You could be guy who looks vaguely like the guy that is the Emperor in this game. You could be that guy from The King and I who says, "I'm dead now, don't smoke." You could be Big Turban Dude. I'm trying to see if I recognize anybody as like Happy Cat or Bobo in previous game. Sometimes they take portraits. Ah, yes! I think that might be Happy Cat. Is that Happy Cat? No, that's not Happy Cat. My bad. And again, folks, you can pause the video and be one of these badass motherfuckers. I think I'm gonna go with this guy. This guy looks pretty cool. You know what? I don't want to be cool. I want to be a goofball in this game because I do not want this to seem like I'm trying to be more awesome than anyone else. I'm going to be Mr. Goofy. Woohoo! So that's going to be JG. But let's go back to the officer screen anyway because I wasn't done showing you all the officers you can choose from. I've now chosen JG, but you could also be guy with big pink hat. You could be various people leaning sideways. You could be the Doctor, because if you choose this face, I'll just choose another face for the Doctor call. You could be Jamie McCrimmon, who was a few back there. You can be any of these dudes. You could be Dr. Goofy over here. You could be a girl. And you know what? I don't even insist that you actually be a girl before you choose to play as a girl, if you choose to. And you're not really playing, you're watching, but still. She seems nice. Yes, you can choose any one of these attractive young ladies, and note that they all appear to be Chinese. I approve of that. I do not want them throwing in a bunch of crazy blonde chicks or whatever. This is not Sailor Moon, despite 2 of my calls. There's Zoe Harriet. You can be that face if you want to. I'll assign another face to my Zoe Harriet call, which was a really silly idea to begin with. But hey, the Doctor has a TARDIS. He can go back, and he went and visited Marco Polo. He can go back and hang out in Three Kingdoms, China if he wants to. You could be this chick who looks like she's gonna cut you right in the face. You cannot be her because Jing Chi is gonna be used in the game, and I think I'll just go ahead and stick with that face. I don't even know why I'm bothering to show you the female faces. I doubt we're gonna get a lot of people applying to be female characters, but you never know. I will not be giving my Caw or any of the other created characters 800 daughters, so there will be no Reaper clan in this game, except for maybe the one Reaper who may choose to show up. They've got a lot of women you can choose from, folks. I gotta hand it to them, considering, really, there's not that many women to use in the game. Historical. These are all actual officers, so you can't use any of their faces, and the only reason I'm even looking at them is because I'm wondering... No, these are all assigned to actual officers. None of these are people who who won't show up in the game. But they do have other... I guess if you really wanted to, you could be one of these. Would you like to have the face of female? You can. You know what? You can't. I'm taking these guys off the table because you've got too many to choose from already, and I don't want you confusing me by saying, "Other, screen 4, number 7," and I'll be like, wait, other? What are you talking about? Because I'll forget. So, what you've got to choose from really are the created officers. Any one of them. Take your time, go through this video, pause, and find the face that's just right for you. Bearing in mind that I really wanted, personally, to be, well, it's like you could be an awesome ninja, sending death messages for the Ninja Empire. You could be this goofy guy, but I chose to be a different looking goofy guy, a different goofy looking guy, whatever you want to say. I think this guy looks pretty badass, but I went with this goofball. You could be like Sun Wukong and be like monkey-looking dude. I had a joke in mind I was going to say if anybody looked really monkeyish, and now I can't remember it at all. But anyway, so this has been a very long and I'm sure very dull video. I do apologize. But yeah, the call is out, folks. If you want to be involved in this game, I could pretty much guarantee that, considering that I have over 1,000 views on my first video, but I only found out pretty recently from Bobo. When I view Grimmeth's videos, I do view. I don't watch every single video he posts because he posts quite a few videos, and I'm trying to keep up with a couple of different subscriptions. But when I view his videos, I do it through my subscriber tab in my own, or subscription tab in my own YouTube page. I do not actually ever really go to his page, which is why it was a couple of days later before Bobo pointed out, you know that he actually was showing your video on his page for a while. And I was like, whoa, cool. Anyway, but that's why a big chunk of you are here. But I've also saw about a 90% drop between video 1 and video 2. So that doesn't really say too much for my power to retain viewers. I'm hoping I'll be less rambling once the game starts. But yeah, I can pretty much at this point, I'm getting decent number of views per video by my standards, but I don't think I'm getting hundreds and hundreds of people watching this. So if you take the time to fill in an application, I would be very surprised if I start turning people away. And if I will only do that if I've got more than like 20, you know, if I get more than like 20, 25 applications, I'll probably have to turn some people away. If I get like that many and I feel like I really should give you all a chance to be in the game and have something to do with the game, I probably will create your guys off screen. Which means that your stats will remain a mystery even to you unless you happen to show up on my radar at some point, because I'm not going to go seeking you guys out. And last point I'd like to make before wrapping this overlong video up, choose your name with care. For the following reason. I will recognize myself, JG, should I show up and be a recruitable character. I'm thinking that Grimmeth, who may choose to call himself Master Reaper, Happy Cat, or I don't know what he'll call himself. I know that he said he would like to be in. 1 or 2 people have commented that they might be involved. Bobo would probably you know, throw something out there. He might even be able to draw the attention of Red, although I don't think she's really aware of these videos at all. Which would at least be 1 female character floating around in that game. But I am not going to probably remember your name. If you choose to be called something like, oh, I'm going to be family name Cox, surname Anita, you know, yeah, I'll recognize you as a created character when you show up, and that's fine. But if you choose to give yourself a name that actually sounds like a Chinese historical figure, like, oh, you know, I'm going to play as Zhang Fei, and I'm pretending in my own mind that I'm like Zhang Fei's father or brother, or you know, somebody who's like, you know, whatever, I don't know. If you choose to do that, that's all well and good, but bear in mind there's a real good chance that if you show up in the game, until I look at the comments later and you're like, ooh, my character showed up, I'm not going to know that you're a created character, and I'm going to execute you accordingly if you're being a pain in the ass. So, just saying, folks, I'm just saying. But yeah, I'm going to, in the very near future, I'm going to get this game rolling. I'm going to give you guys a couple of days, I think, to put in your applications. Maybe I can even bring myself to wait a week, although that means I couldn't play this game all over the weekend. I really feel like playing this game now. Yeah, so that should give you a chance to jump in and get involved, and I hope that you'll have a good time. One last note before I sign off on this. I am aware of the sync issues that have been cropping up. I have them to a certain extent anytime I record off my PS2 or my Xbox, but they've been way worse than usual. The length of these videos might be a culprit. I don't know what I can really do to fix them. I'm looking at some possible solutions. Up to and including, I might need to just frickin' break down and buy a new desktop. I'm doing this off a laptop. I haven't gotten myself a new top-of-the-line desktop in a while. That would be a pretty expensive outlay, folks. I'm hoping it doesn't come to it. But I'm willing to do it. And I'm going to do my best to make those sync problems go away, or to mitigate them as best I can. So please, if they upset you, I do apologize, but I'm aware of them. I hope it won't turn you away from a Let's Play you would otherwise enjoy. But yeah, that's it. I've already rambled on for way too long. So, join me, fellow viewer, because I will be viewing this one as a viewer in a way, because JG is going to be floating around somewhere in ancient China. Come along to ancient China. Let the random number generator decide which force you will end up on. If you end up on my force, I will probably show the created officers a little bit more love, bring them along to my frontline cities and use them, just because it'll be more of a kick for people who are watching the game. Lord knows if Bobo Vulture shows up, or Vulture Bobo shows up, I'm going to put him in duels as often as possible, because that tends to lead to a lot of hilarious fun. But yep, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Get your submissions in as early as you can. And good luck with ending up in the army of Shu. I'll see you next time, folks. Bye-bye.